Yes, we're looking at you, wondering how much time you're going to give us to listen to this review. The High Road is the second studio album released by JoJo. This album was released right as JoJo was almost turning 16. And it so happened to be released when I turned 16. As I said in my last review, JoJo's vocals, they should not be underestimated by anyone. Her appeal as an artist, that's something that you can decide for yourself. I found her as an interesting young artist back in the day, and now I still enjoy listening to these two albums that were released very early in her career. I was especially excited to be able to talk about this album because I feel like I listened to this one a lot more than the last one, which is a big surprise considering how much I praised it. And as I mentioned before in the other album, anything that revolves around my childhood or adolescence, I am going to take into account how this music ages or just kind of how it comes off and not just say it's amazing because I grew up with it. In her debut album, there was only one song where I felt like the production of one song was a little iffy, but it wasn't questionable enough for me to feel like that's a huge downgrade for the album. It just felt like something I noticed. This album, however, there are about 3 or 4 songs where I do feel like the production and the style of those particular songs don't age well, not because they don't sound good, but because they sound like they're kind of chasing trends from that day and age. They're slightly more hip-hop geared, and I can kind of tell what it feels like. It feels like it's kind of in that zone where it's kind of trying to be party music and it's trying to kind of be crunk music. It's not that hard for JoJo. I mean, no one would take that seriously if that was the actual case. But it feels like it's taking inspiration from that, and I don't think it was pulled off ultra well for at least 2 of the songs. 1 or 2 others did it kind of okay, but enough for me to be able to be like, that's something to mention. Thankfully, early on in the album, we do get the song Too Little Too Late. This, again, is where she shines vocally, and the pop portion of her artistry, or just the music itself, shines tremendously. I actually have a hard time deciding if it's this song or Baby It's You, which are my favorite JoJo songs. I am not quite sure yet, actually. This song also has creative acoustics that blend well with the rest of the production. Again, I will highlight and praise the vocals in this song. There are some interesting background vocals, some, sure, probably effects, but overall, I'm like, wow. I don't get that from every pop artist, especially anymore. The self-titled track, The High Road, has kind of a gospel beat, but it kind of goes in a, depending on how you view it or hear it, it can be a little cheesy. But once again, the vocals overall save this song from being bad. This is a fine song. The next song, Anything. This one samples, Rain in Africa. I like it a lot. And I remember every time I first listened to the song, it has that little intro, and I'm like, wait, isn't this from another song? Oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And then as the song progresses, the transition and the pop portion of that transition in production, they blend great, actually. It truly is a seamless flow. I want you to go check that specific song out. Let me know what you think. The next song, Like That. This is a song that I feel like a lot of people would think I wouldn't like, but I do. It's very much a setting of seduction. I think we're crossing into guilty pleasure mode right now. The song Coming For You was also pretty popular, I remember. It's not as strong as Too Little Too Late, but it still has its moment to shine when you listen to it. I love the song Let It Rain because I love rain, and it actually does have rain effects in the song. And a special note, there is a reference to B-boy swagger, and I think she's referring to actual B-boys and not like basketball boys. I'm pretty sure. Now here's where the album transitions very surprisingly in a very positive way, but one that makes you curious, how did we get here now? These are all songs that have more of a message from a hopeful perspective, from a potentially moral perspective, if you can call it that. The song Exceptional, if you gave it a chance to shine a little bit more, you would think that it deserves to be mentioned in the same realm as Christina Aguilera's Beautiful, or even Colby Caillat's Try, that was pretty popular a few years ago. And it's funny because it doesn't feel grandiose, but it does feel effective. It feels kind of brought down to earth, that there's some gravity here, and it feels just more personable. The song after that, How to Touch a Girl, I have a lot of respect for this song because it's a song that I think is mostly geared toward men and trying to say, you know, if you really want a girl to like you back, then you should do these things. And it's not pandering, it's not demeaning, it's not in your face, it's very musical and very modest. It uses a tone that is genuine and sincere and is just saying, you know, if you want to get to this point, you know, you've got to be more of a good guy. You've got to be more of a gentleman. You have to do things that are more astute, and you two will gradually come closer together. I appreciate that. And the last song, Note to God, this is a song I did worry about a little bit. It starts off somewhat slow, and lyrically, I didn't have any problems with it. I was just trying to figure out, okay, where is this going to lead? It might be a little bit too slow for me, but it builds up with the pace and with the volume and with a little bit of everything, to be honest. It is slow, but appropriately so, and it sticks the high note right. It's actually a really great way to end an album. There's a lot of times where I feel like an album ends fine, where it's the last song, I'm like, okay, I guess that was the last song. This one, I think purposely was put there, and I think it worked out great. So with all those things said, let's get down to the final point. After having listened and reviewed this album, with production of 88%, creativity 92%, expression and lyrics 92%, I'm going to give this album a yeah. It's very funny because I find the last album I didn't listen to that much, but I find a stronger recommendation for that one. This one, I still like it a lot. All those songs that I mentioned, so worth it. So good. Great way for her to expand her discography. I just found a few of those songs, their instrumentation, their production, didn't work super well, or specifically for her. But aside from those few songs, this album is still very good and very recommendable, so it's worth checking out even if it doesn't get the yes. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff down below so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.